Alrighty, man. We got a lot to talk about today. Y'all gonna like this one today, man. Let's talk about what we just witnessed within the last, I want to say 72 hours or so. Let's talk about Marcus Smart going to the Lakers and Damian Lillard going to the Portland Trailblazers. Now, I'm going to start off with Dame because obviously that's one of the biggest pieces of news this NBA offseason. Damian Lillard is going to be heading back to Portland after spending two seasons with the Milwaukee Bucks. And after two failed stints with Milwaukee, obviously that was through no fault of neither Dame or Giannis his own. Injuries got in the way, and Giannis and Dame really never gelled together like that because Dame was forced to play off ball a lot more. Obviously, the vision was okay in a perfect world. Dame with the Bucks, he's the guard that brings the ball up the floor, gives Giannis a lot more floor spacing. But Dame was really not as consistent as he was his first year with Portland. Obviously, the first year with Milwaukee was a struggle because he was trying to get acclimated to the city of Milwaukee after being in Portland for, I want to say it was like 12 seasons. Yeah, 11 seasons. Obviously, in his 2 seasons with Milwaukee, Dame Time did not play all that bad. He actually played pretty well, 24.3 a game in the 2023-24 campaign, shooting 42% from the field, 35% from three, 92% from the free throw line. 2024-25, he almost averaged 25 points a game, shooting damn near 45% from the field, 38% or almost 38% from three, and then 92% from the free throw line again. But let's put this into some context, y'all. When the Milwaukee Bucks got him in 2023, he came off a season where he averaged 32.2 a game in the 58 games he played in his first go around with Portland. That was the 2022-23 campaign. Obviously, when he was in a Milwaukee Bucks uni, obviously I from the games I watched, I don't know if Dame was way too uncomfortable with being the second fiddle, or maybe he had so much trouble adjusting to the city and moving different locations because he's been in one location for so long. Obviously, we're going to see that same type of struggle with one Miles Turner after he spent 10 seasons in Indiana. Now he has to transition to Milwaukee, even though he was one game away from winning the NBA Finals with Tyrese Halliburton. Klay Thompson, the same thing as well, spending 12 seasons with the Golden State Warriors and then making the move last summer to go to the Dallas Mavericks. But ultimately, the Dame Giannis situation, or I shouldn't say situation, the Dame Giannis experiment was a failure. Even though in 2024, Dame damn near averaged I don't want to say his career numbers, but he averaged 31 a game in the 4 games he played in the 2024 campaign where the Milwaukee Bucks lost to the Pacers in 6 games. Obviously, he looked like the Dame of old. Obviously, I think he was battling a strained Achilles that series, and then the year after, when Dame was taunting Hallie, saying like, "Yo, I'm gonna whoop your ass" or something like that. He came back. Obviously, Dame did not look right, and of course, he blew out his Achilles. Obviously, if y'all saw the reports, I'm pretty sure you guys know this by now, but I'm gonna rehash it for y'all. There was some tension between Dame and the Milwaukee Bucks organization. I'm reading this off of Yahoo Sports. According to NBA TV's Chris Haynes, the Bucks wouldn't let Dame return to Portland so he could rehab and be with his family. You know what I'm saying? And the Bucks did not approve of that. And obviously, it didn't sit right with Dame. And I believe Dame released a diss track towards Milwaukee, which if he actually released that, bro, I'm gonna put it in the link for y'all because that is actually kind of comical. But at the same time, it's kind of sad though because this is a guy that blew out his Achilles. He literally sacrificed his own body just so he could give Giannis some help. Because obviously, when Dame went down, the Milwaukee Bucks season was over. Even if they won that game 5 where they led by 20 and then they led by 7 in overtime thanks to Gary Trent Jr. hitting all those threes, looking like Steph Curry, Game 6, Klay Thompson. Uh, Ironically, Aaron Nesmith, who did the same thing against the New York Knicks. But Dame sacrificed his body to try to give Giannis some help. And their season was over. Even if they won game 5. They were losing the series regardless in a game 6 in their home building. This just goes to show you, with everything that went on in the aftermath of them waiving Dame to get Miles Turner, and then the reports of the tension going on between Dame and the Milwaukee front office because Milwaukee couldn't grant him his request, and all that other stuff. The regular season, they looked shaky in both years, actually, and all that other stuff that came in between and thereafter, it just didn't work out between Dame, Giannis, and the Bucks. And when that trade first went down, I was happy for Giannis and the Bucks, but I wasn't overly excited because yes, you do get a dynamic offensive machine in Dame time. But the trade-off is you had to sacrifice your glue guy that helped you win the 2021 title in Drew Holiday. Obviously, yeah, the season before they got Dame. Yes, I understand Drew played bad. He was getting torched by Jimmy. He was getting torched by Jason Tatum the year before, right? But at the same time, he was still making good defensive plays regardless. So for me, I didn't like it for Milwaukee, but I didn't hate it either because I do get a good score. But Drew fit that system to a T. And because of the fact they lost Dame, they had to rely on Patrick Beverly to be their defensive grit and grind guy. You know what I'm saying? And Pat Bev at the time was 36 years old when he suited up in a Milwaukee Bucks uniform, right? They tried it with DeLon Wright. They ended up shipping him to New York, which he actually played well in that Pacers series, but that's a whole nother issue. And then they tried Gary Trent Jr. Obviously, they were able to keep him, which is huge. And then signing Torian Prince, which Darvin Ham is on the team. Let that explain it for itself. I ain't even gonna try to explain my analysis on Torian because he was on my Lakers. Darvin Ham's on the squad. Y'all do the math at that point. But now Dame is in a situation where I think he's at peace with his career. I don't know if he's going to win a ring. More than likely, no. He had his chances as very peak with LaMarcus Aldridge, and then obviously he was at his absolute best with CJ McCollum, and obviously we saw the failures with Milwaukee and all the other stuff. And obviously he's going to use this whole entire season to rehab from his Achilles tear. But Dame is going to be in a situation where I think he'll have much better pieces around him than he did in his last season with, or like his second to last season with Portland, where he had C.J. McCollum, Norman Powell, Rocco. I think he had Melo at one point on the squad too. I do think this roster has a lot of talent, especially defensively. Obviously, you have Drew Holiday, champion. He's played against Dame before in the playoffs, ironically, against the Blazers. So Drew knows what it's like to play in Portland as an opponent. Now he gets to be a Dame's teammate, and he's spoken highly of Dame in the past. Matisse Thybulle's a dog of a defender. Jeremy Grant is a good player. Tamani Kamara is an absolute dog, bro. That dude is everywhere defensively. Denny's a dog himself defensively too. And then Donovan Clingan, I saw him in college. That dude's a really good shot blocker. And then they have the Chinese version of Jokic and Yang Hansen. And obviously, I think one of the main guys on their team is Scoot Henderson. That's why the Blazers traded Anthony to get Drew, because it'll also allow Scoot Henderson to get the shine he deserves. And I don't think Dame would have to be the first option like he was all his years in his first go around with Portland, because he has Scoot and he has Yang. I think those two, I don't want to compare him to Jokic and Jamal Murray, because Jamal and Joker, that's a special combo. Could they be that good? Maybe, but I'm going to make a separate video on how good I think the Blazers will be this upcoming year and how good they'll be going forward. But I'm happy for Dame. I'm happy he's back in the uniform that I know he feels the most comfortable in. I know he's back in that arena where he feels the most loving and all that other stuff. Now let's talk about Marcus Smart going to the Lakers. Yeah, I know. I'm a day or two late reporting this news. I don't care. Argue with your mama. But the Marcus Smart signing is an interesting one to me because obviously he was on my rival from the East Coast, the Boston Celtics, for the longest time. And yes, I'm saying my because I don't know if we know this. Fans also make up the team. It's not just the players. I don't know why this is such a freaking issue where there's bigger issues in the world. But let's not go down that pathway. If you want to argue about it in the comments. But Marcus Smart played for the Boston Celtics for a long ass time. He played there for 9 seasons, and obviously him and Tatum and Jalen, they all gave the Lakers hell whenever they played the Lakers. And then obviously he was a part of their deep postseason runs. And then obviously there's a reason why Boston sacrificed him for Drew Holiday, because Marcus, he maxed out what he could do with Boston. And obviously he was looked at as an expendable. And the Boston Celtics won a chip without him. But even with that, the Lakers do get a guard who is a defensive dog, bro. I know I use the word dog a few times when talking about those other guys on the Blazers, but Marcus Smart is a dog defensively. Smart is a defensive player of the year for a reason. Now, obviously, the individual stats do not show it, but Marcus Smart did average 1.7 steals, almost 2 steals a game in the year. He won Defensive Player of the Year, and then obviously he had zero point 0.3 blocks, which I guess is fine. He was the first guard to win it since Gary Payton in 1996, and he was an All Hustle award winner that same year as well. And he's one of the main reasons why Boston was one of the best defensive teams that year, especially since the new year in 2022. Now, obviously, he's in a much different situation with the Lakers because obviously the Lakers do not have a Jason Tatum. They do not have a Jaylen Brown. They do not have an Al Horford. But I think with Smart's defensive presence, I think it could help out the Lakers a lot. Now, I'm not going to go out and be a delusional Laker fan because everyone thinks that Marcus Smart's going to automatically lead us to a title. Obviously, we said the same thing about Patrick Beverley when he came here, and look how that turned out. We ended up shipping him to the Chicago Bulls. I know a lot of Laker fans weren't saying it, but I know a lot of these dumb media outlets think that, the Lakers were going to sweep the whole damn West with Patrick Beverley and Russell Westbrook on the squad and all the other stuff. Obviously, I was a delusional one myself, but I did that to mainly troll people. I wasn't being serious. But anyways, Marcus Smart is in a different situation. He has Luka, who obviously people call him a slouch defensively. Austin Reeves, I said it in my other Laker vid, that he is a weak link defensively, and you can't start him next to Luka because of the fact he's a defensive deficient player. LeBron at this stage of his career, he can't clamp up. Obviously, LeBron was never known as a defender, but in his Miami days, he was robbed of Defensive Player of the Year in 2013. And obviously, some people are saying that Marcus Smart robbed Mikal Bridges of Depoy in 2022. Rudy Gobert won it too many times, even though he ended up being a finalist. I've had my discernments about DeAndre Ayton going back to Phoenix, and obviously Jared Vanderbilt. He's a perfect complement next to Marcus Smart. The problem is, in the words of Anthony Edwards, he been hurt for 2 years. No, I'm kidding. But when Vando did play, Ant freaking torched him, and he torched Dodo as well. So I'm not going to sit here and say Marcus Smart's the end-all be-all, but it is a step in the right direction on building a team around Luka because obviously the Lakers made it very clear that this is Luka's team now. And I think getting Marcus Smart is a step in the right direction too. And obviously, again, it's not what Marcus Smart had in Boston with those long athletic wings that could play at a fast tempo. But with the Lakers, I think he could help the Lakers find that defensive identity again because, like I said in my previous Laker vid, with before we trade for Luka, for a month and a half, the Lakers were looking like the Lakers of old. Max Christie being our best 3-and-D guard since KCP and Danny Green. The Lakers looked really good. AD looked like himself once again. And we traded those two, which messed up our chemistry defensively. Yeah, we get a dynamic offensive player, but we lost a lot of defense in that span. DeAndre Ayton, he's not the end-all be-all, and nor is Marcus Smart. But those two guys are steps in the right direction. Obviously, I said what I said about Ayton. DA, don't do any of that suckiness in LA, and don't be soft. Marcus Smart, he is who he is. I know I'm going to have to take the good and the bad when it comes with that guy because he can be the reason why your team wins ball games, but he could be the reason why your team blows a ball game or nearly blows it. Because remember, in 2022, Game 7 against Miami, Marcus Smart thought he was Chris Paul because, and for some context, Chris Paul the year before in Game 6 versus the Clippers in 2021, he scored 27 straight points to send the Clippers home. And then Marcus Smart tried doing the same thing when Boston was up 13 in Miami in Game 7. And then the dumb shots Marcus took allowed Miami back in the game. And then Jimmy Butler missed the 3. And the Miami Heat season was over. So my point is that Marcus Smart is a reason why the Lakers will win a lot of games. But we also have to be ready for the fact that Marcus's low IQ and decision-making and bad shot selection could be a reason we lose some of these critical ball games as well. And that's not a knock on Smart, because I actually like watching him play. He's a good player, he hustles, and he does all the auxiliary things. But at the same time, so did Russell Westbrook. We got Russell Westbrook. Russell did not work out for us. Obviously, he's a much different player. We got an MVP. We thought he's going to be the reason why the Lakers get another ring and all that other stuff. But I like this smart signing. Obviously, pun intended, I guess. But I do like it for the simple fact that we get a guy that could help the Lakers reestablish their defensive identity and put them in the right direction going forward. Because I think the key to building around Luka is to getting a lot of defensive pieces. Right now, Smart, Jake LaRavia, I've heard, is a really good defender. Jared Vanderbilt's pretty good on defense, but the problem is, like I said, he's hurt. But this is a step in the right direction on building around Luka, especially since LeBron is either A, going to retire in a couple of years, whether it's with the Lakers or not, and obviously he may not be on the roster before the season starts, and I wouldn't be surprised if he stays on the Lakers by the time it's opening day. I won't be surprised at that as well. But again, doesn't change my mind that I like this signing and I do like what Smart will bring. I just have to be ready for the fact that he may be the reason why we lose some critical ball games as well. So those are my thoughts, y'all. What do you guys think about the Dame signing? Do you guys think that Dame should have signed with a one more contender for a final shot at a ring? Or do you guys love the fact that he's back in Portland and he's going to be in the city that loves him and that's always been home to him? What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of the Marcus Smart signing? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you feel like we could have gotten something better than Marcus? Obviously, I don't think there was that much better. Obviously, we would have had to sell for Josh Okogie and J.O. He's just another Jordan Goodwin at the end of the day, which, by the way, we waived the guy so we can get this guy. And obviously, one more thing before I go, we might make a trade that will involve Dalton Connect and Maxi Kleber, so be on the lookout for that. That trade will be like I don't want to say a cost-cutting trade, but it'll help the Lakers make the Marcus Smart signing official. But what do you guys think of both transactions? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you feel like they should have been free agents, or do you guys think they should retire, or whatever the hell? Let me know you guys' thoughts in the comments below. Until then, that is the end of this video. I'm X. Deuces.